Yeah, thank you.
Some say the president has been away for a bit too long, even though that is comparable not to what President Kufuor did, including missing the 2002, if I'm right, Independence Day anniversary and all that. But it looks like this is travel that is premised on some national requirement or continental requirement, if you like, first to Ethiopia, to AU, and then to France, and then to Japan. Help us to appreciate the essence of such travel by His Excellency the President of Ghana.
Thank you. The President's travel is very good at this time, especially to those three countries. First to Ethiopia for the African Union summit. The summit was very successful. We all know it was the 50th anniversary of the Union, and Ghana played a very leading role in the independence of a whole lot of countries in Africa, independence from colonial rule. The President's visit to Ethiopia, to the AU summit, has demonstrated how highly Ghana is regarded among the Committee of Nations in Africa. And he took the opportunity to meet other leaders. This is done mainly to ensure that Ghana remains in the limelight. For instance, he managed to make the case for Ghana and for Africa. He ensured that the views of the Ghanaian people was clearly presented to the African Union. But moving on to France, especially, it was a great business meeting because the week before, French business leaders came to Ghana.
Okay.
And they, about 60 companies in all, from the French business community. We know French companies like Total Petroleum have got a huge investment in Ghana, and Total Ghana happens to be a very big employer here in this country. It employs, hundreds of people directly and indirectly in the Ghanaian economy. And the president went to France. He met the business community. The information we have very clearly is that French businesses are preparing to invest in Ghana. Those that have not invested yet, they are strongly preparing to invest in Ghana. The president took the opportunity to tell the business community in France that they should invest in Ghana, especially the motorway, Tema motorway, and the Telekwashi interchange, which was hurriedly done by the Kufuor regime. Okay. When you go there now, at this time especially, it's about traffic all the way down to the Tema area, to the other side of the motorway. The president has taken the opportunity to talk to the business community, the infrastructure developers, so that the motorway could be expanded for us to have as many lanes as possible. The interchange would be expanded. This is one big priority for the president because he knows that Ghana is growing, things are moving up, and the population that has built homes in those areas, Afienya, Dawenya, Etama itself and all that. The president wants to be sure that when they are going home after work, they will have a smooth ride to their homes. That means that you've got to attract these companies into Ghana. That's just one. There are so many other things, and if you want to know, you just have to engage with this administration. The president is a president that listens to Ghanaians. If you think there's something you need to know, it's easy to ask any NDC official or NDC party official or government official. These are the kinds of things the president intends to do. inviting businesses to invest here. He took the opportunity to meet the new French president, who's been in power for barely 1 year.
Okay.
And that shows that the president has a lot of credibility in the international community. That shows that he is respected out there as the elected president of the Republic of Ghana. So those who are claiming he was not rightfully elected have to think again.
Okay, we'll come to that, but I want you to draw your mind back to, cast your mind back to the AU, the General Assembly meeting, if you like, the fact that there's debates about African unity. I mean, this debate has been going on and on and on. We've talked about the radicalist approach or the gradualist approach. Now we don't even know which methodology to employ. You get that? And the president made a very wonderful speech, reigniting the need, the essence for Africa to unite. I don't know if that vision, as nurtured by Nkrumah, would ever be realized.
Yes, the truth about African unity is that it is very important. Unity in various forms. We have to have economic, unity. The political structure might take some time, but it is also very important. We have to integrate in such a way that people can easily move across borders and do business. We have to integrate our infrastructure, especially banking infrastructure, in a way that people can easily transact business, so that somebody in Burkina Faso can easily transact business with a Ghanaian and know that he's secure, his earnings are secure. So the president just made it very clear that it's about time Africa got serious, more and more serious about itself. The president made it clear that unity is essential for our people. Because, look, the leaders we see on the continent are leaders who would want to advance the cause of their nations. When leaders assume power, no matter how they came to power, the overriding fact is that they are serving people. And President John Mahama is serving Ghanaians and serving Africans at the same time. So his vision for Africa is clear. African unity in terms of trade, where we could trade with one another, as I said before, in terms of movement of people, in immigration especially, because
the ECOWAS has that for now.
ECOWAS is doing very well, trying to integrate its people so that people can move from Nigeria to Ghana and do business or go to school easily without bottlenecks. But yes, at this time, bottlenecks do exist. Recently, we heard that ECOWAS is trying to build a proper kind of country, inter-country kind of highway that would come from all the way from Nigeria down to...
Is that not too ambitious?
It sounds ambitious, but if other countries have done that...
It's a possibility.
If other countries in Europe and Asia, if they've managed to link to at least 2 or 3 countries properly, then it shouldn't be a difficulty for Africa, West Africa for that matter, to do. It is essential. The investments are needed in these areas, else we cannot move. Jobs will be created. So when you are investing, you have to look at the benefits that the countries involved would derive from these improvements. And it is important, as the president said, that Africa begins to look very clearly, very closely at how to integrate its people through unity.
I would want you to move to the essence of going to Japan. I learned the TICAD conference is the conference or the policy for the Japanese government, if you like, foreign policy directed at the African continent, and the essence of the president also going there vis-a-vis having this TICAD conference. But we'll do that when I come from this commercial break. Stay with me. Be right back. Hello and welcome back to the show. Thanks for staying with us. If you just tune in, this is Majority Caucus live on your multi-TV, also live across the world on www.multitvworld.com. Before we went for the break, we were on the president's visit to France and Ethiopia, from Ethiopia to France, and now in Japan. So briefly, is there anything Ghana government stands to benefit from this TICAD conference in Japan?
A lot. The truth about Japan is that it has been involved in Ghana's development for quite a long time. They are one of our major donors. The Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, they are seriously involved in Ghana's development. Okay. They provide a whole lot of support, financial support, technical support to the Ghanaian government that goes a long way to improve on the country's strengths in economic development. Ghana is still a developing country. We are still striving to move higher, and the president representing the country in person is very important, so that mechanisms could be put in place to develop this country very well. Our president, he's a very hardworking man.
Indeed.
So with him there, and he knows how to negotiate a lot. One thing I like about him, since he was vice president, is his negotiation skills. He is always calm, even under pressure. He knows how to extract the best for Ghanaians, and I'm sure he'll extract the best by the time he arrives back in Ghana.
Okay, thank you. Prince said it all, that the president will certainly come back home with the best in the interest of our mother, Ghana. It is important for people to remember that misconduct or act of vandalism or engaging in irresponsible behavior does not amount to heroism. This attitude by Omari Wadia, thinking that by some way Ghanaians have made him a hero, is most regrettable, to say the least. For the first time, I've seen the rank and file of the NPP distancing themselves from the shameful conduct of Omari Wadia. I'm sure you all know, there's no need for me to belabor the point, go on and again about that shameful and embarrassing conduct a man of his stature should engage in. I mean, not even primary school pupils would want to do a thing like this. It is shameful for him to be in possession of such pictures, and even more regrettable and dangerous and offensive for him to doctor, as he has since claimed to have done. And so we would say something about it before this program comes to a closure. We have been joined in the studio by my second guest, is Broja Jemfi. He's a member of government communication team. And thank you, Broja, for coming.
Welcome.
Broja, let's go to the court quickly. Roku has issued some release, if you like, and the content, I don't think it is palatable at all. If you were Bawumia in these times of our political history, he did not take it lightly at all. He thinks that Bawumia has disgraced the NPP. He thought that Bawumia, apart from being intelligent and touted as economic guru, he thinks that he has no place in the courts, much more to talk about the witness box. It is a wrong forum for the wrong person to appear, and even more so make the wrong submissions. He said Bawumia was clueless. In fact, he was ignorant of election processes.
Well, let me first of all state that there are very few founding fathers of the NPP who are still alive, and Dr. Rekubrobe happens to be one of them.
Okay.
And also, I think about 2 or 3 who are still alive all do not believe in the case of the NPP in court. It is very important that we take note of that.
Okay.
So that if you are a full soldier or a branch executive and you are just following people who follow others,
just like that,
so doing you understand, you should be looking at what is going on. One of such persons is Kwame Pianim, who is a founding father, very respectable person within the NPP. One of such persons is also this retired army officer, what's his name, the Gaman?
Who just wrote a book, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, who also in his book, Never Say Die, has said a lot of things about the conduct of the NPP before and even after the elections. So these three personalities who are persons who are still alive and are founding members of the party do not even believe what they are doing in court. And Dr. Rekubrobi has been very consistent since the NPP went to court. This thing that he brought out is very serious and damaging to the NPP. But all that he has said are things that are facts, because we are watching the thing on television. I ask myself, who is a witness? Who is a witness? Do we just pick somebody from nowhere and because he has sworn an affidavit on behalf of a petitioner or on behalf of a party is presented to court to be a witness? No. A witness is somebody who can testify to an event by personal knowledge or by way of information gathering. So if you present somebody like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to court as your key witness, and he goes there and says, you and I were not there, he doesn't know what went on. He's not even aware that his party chairman, who is part of the petition, requested for a meeting with the Electoral Commission.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
Yet he's a key witness.
He doesn't know that their general secretary announced that they have won the elections by 58% and that everybody should be in white the following day. He doesn't know that Boache Ejakun had announced that the elections were free and fair. He virtually did not know anything. And I don't blame him. Bawumia got into politics at the latter part of 2008.
And he had his ID card when he was chosen.
Exactly. He didn't know anything about politics. But because of some personal agenda that some people are running in the party, they pushed him. Because anybody who is seen as a key witness for a party, the people at the grassroots will hail him as somebody who is defending the cause of the party. So they push Bawumia there. Very strategic.
So this is a marketing strategy.
So whether he will mess up or not, their strategy, once they achieve what they want, they say the end justifies the means. So they push him there, knowing he didn't know anything about the processes. Look at Boabi Asamoah. He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
You know, Sir John too is a lawyer.
Indeed.
He's the general secretary of the party.
Surprisingly,
we are
he's a lawyer.
attending IPAC meetings. Now they tell Sir John not to say anything about the court case again. Have you been hearing him?
I have observed
now
he's
going down. Yes, they tell him, oh, don't say anything about it, even though he's a lawyer. And then they add a Siodun Ketia that, oh, the two general secretaries, they are misinterpreting what is in court and all that, and they keep the man shut, not knowing they want to project Boabi Asamoah for general secretary. So now, every now and then, you see Boabi Asamoah, who is even a junior to Sir John at the bar,
far,
projecting Boabi Asamoah to take over. So what they're actually doing in court is different from
it's not about
the agenda
court.
Is different from
People
what we are saying. You understand? So that is what they are pushing through. But if you listen to Johnson Esiedun Ketia, somebody who has 34 years experience in our electoral system, starting from 1978, he knows about the processes, all that he went through with the court. You could see from today that the chairman of the Electoral Commission was also in line and explaining all those things that went on. Let me chip in this before I move forward. We have been hearing of the MPP saying that the Electoral Commissioner was running away, the chairman of the Electoral Commission. He didn't sign the affidavit, he didn't swear the affidavit, and all those stuff. And they needed him in the box.
Yes.
But today I was shocked. That when he finally came, they said no, we didn't want
you.
They
were running away
from
so that's their nature. Inherently, they have that characteristics.
You get it. Like
they say one thing, deny the following day.
A baby whose toy has fallen from the top of a building, and he stands on top of the building and starts crying, whether the toy has broken or not. You get it. That's the way they are behaving. Coming back on the analysis I was making. Johnson Esiedun Ketia has gotten 34 years experience in electoral processes. And you get the lawyer of the MPP wanting to shoot down the credibility of Esiedun Ketia.
Okay.
And he asks a question that of all the 34 years experiences you have gotten, was it about biometric electoral process? And General said no, that's only in 2012.
I think that question was nonsensical.
Exactly.
If you ask me.
Because you see, if you
when
study
the biometric starts,
if you even study all the claims of the MPP, it is only one that is related to biometric voting process.
Yeah, overvoting,
that is no verification, no voting.
Yeah.
Overvoting has been with us since we started elections in 1954.
Yeah.
You didn't need a biometric registration process in order to detect that a presiding officer did not sign the sheet. You get it? So the question really did not make any sense.
Absolutely.
But
I agree.
they are hailing that, he has shut down the credibility. Somebody who knows about the electoral process, compare him to Bawumia. He didn't know what.
We'll be doing a great disservice to Madagascar if we did.
Their witness himself has been discredited. And if you study how Lawyer Addison landed yesterday, it was like a plane coming to land and nobody knew about it. Even
all of a sudden,
the lieutenants of the pilot did not know that the plane was going to land. All of a sudden he landed. And I saw that some gestures from
and
the NPP,
the rest,
and the way they were behaving,
they were surprised.
There was a meeting in Anado's house
to remove him as a lead counsel
about all that. He got angry and all that. You know, people are, not happy about his performance. If you study how Bawumia was continuously repeating in my analysis, and the court didn't know the analysis. And he didn't even tell that.
There was no analysis before the court.
Until when he was re-examining him, he wanted to smuggle the analysis, and then lawyer Chachu Chekata shot that down. He objected it, and the court sustained that objection.
I have observed a worrying trend, but I'm hesitant to mention names. I will talk about it after your submission. I want you to comment about the tape. I'm not surprised to see Gabi leading
yesterday
to that
yesterday
angle.
Was one of the worst days for lawyer Addison.
Okay.
You know, almost all the objections that were raised, all of the objections were
overruled.
Were overruled. Yeah. You get it. Now, he also brought in the tape issue. A tape that was to discredit Johnson Esiedun Ketia, eventually vindicating him. And I asked myself, I'm sure the lawyer himself did not listen to the tape.
I don't think so.
And that some people...
Because you know something, we were listening to the tape. I was hoping something incriminating would come up. What is happening?
If the tape is now on YouTube.
Okay.
It's about an hour interview on City FM.
Yeah.
It's a very long one. I watched the whole tape yesterday, and I said, Esiedun Ketia is a gem. In fact, all the words he has been using in court,
the same
words. Yes. That if you find out that at the end of voting, the number of ballots issued exceeds the number in the box, it tells you that some foreign materials have entered the box.
Yeah.
And you have to identify those foreign materials and take them off.
Yeah.
You don't go cancelling the whole elections at that polling station. Okay. Remember, if there's one foreign material, it cannot affect
the rest.
People who have genuinely come to cast their ballots.
Yeah.
You understand? And because sorting goes on, counting, everything is done in the open. If your agents are not very vigilant on the day and they are not able to detect some of these things, you cannot come back to court and then ask for a remedy in court.
No.
Study this ruling that was given by the Supreme Court about the counting by KPMG.
Okay.
When the NDC detected that some foreign boxes have been added.
Yes.
We quickly ran.
They suddenly appeared.
We quickly ran to the Supreme Court. I thought that was not the right thing for us to do.
Okay.
And the Supreme Court endorsed my opinion at that time. There's a referee in charge of the counting.
Okay.
That referee is acting like the Electoral Commission in an election.
In this case, KPMG.
And the Supreme Court, knowing the importance of agents, ordered that 2 agents are supposed to be present during the counting.
Okay.
So if you find something wrong, there's an internal or an inbuilt mechanism for a resolution. If that is not able to resolve it, then you move to a higher stage, maybe coming to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Now that ruling would come back to face this issue about pooling agents, because there's an inbuilt solution in this electoral process.
Okay.
That if there is a problem at the polling station, if you get to the polling station and the serial numbers of ballot papers that has been given to you as a polling agent, before you get to the polling station, you know.
Yeah.
So when you get there and there is a problem with that serial numbers, you can simply say that there's a problem with it. So you raise an alarm. If you don't raise that alarm at that moment, you don't come back to the Supreme Court wanting the Supreme Court to do a job of your polling agent.
So that was, as Edwin Kija, what he was saying.
Exactly.
If it wasn't nullified, you can't come to court and say
you can't come.
I'll come back to you. So you tell me about Omari Wadier, so you can tie it in.
That's an important issue.
Prince, your general observation.
Well, my observation...
Since Aswedin Ketia entered the witness box, and now we have the EC.
The General Secretary, Mr. Johnson Aswedin Ketia, did extremely well. Okay. And I'm glad that an MPP founding member, in the person of Dr. Charles Reku Brobe,
a.k.a. Tarzan,
he actually agrees with a great number of people who have said since the General Secretary began his evidence, giving oral evidence in the Supreme Court, that he has done very well. Because if you study much of what the General Secretary has said, he spoke from hands-on experience in both the last election, 2012 election, and previous elections. But what we heard from Dr. Baumia was a rehash of same old stories.
You and I were not there.
You and I were not there. And
on the face of pink sheet.
On the face of the pink sheet. And that's not part of my analysis. But he's forgotten that we are not using Baumia's analysis. The Constitution of Ghana mandates an electoral commission chaired by one of the commissioners. And by law, that commissioner has the right to declare the rightful winner. What I want our people, Ghanaians, to know is that, I said this before, President John Mahama did not turn into 26,000 or so people to stay in every single polling station to rig any election.
Absolutely not.
We heard Dr. Farijan today when he made it clear that he is the last person that the confirmed results ever get to. Before that, the results go through, the parties, several channels. And the parties themselves must even agree before they put them into the 3 computers. And if they get the same number, before they actually authorize that to be added to the final figure. So what we know from the NDC side is that the NPP just wants to give the whole electoral system a bad name and hang it for their own benefit, for their own interests, as lawyer Chikata will put it, for Baumia to become vice president, for Akufo-Addo to become president. So they are ready to sacrifice the integrity of Ghana's electoral system so that they could realize their personal ambitions to become president and vice president. That is what we are seeing from the NPP. So I want to tell the good people of Ghana, President John Mahama respects you a lot. You gave President John Mahama a clear mandate to run Ghana. President John Mahama's commitment is to work for you.
Okay.
That is why when he gets up every morning, he thinks about you, the Ghanaian people. Please do not believe all these over-ambitious people in the person of Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia and Jacob Lamte. Because even their party men like Reku Brobe are saying that they haven't thought through this court case properly before thrusting Dr. Bawumia to the forefront to defend them and waste everybody's time.
Okay.
It is important that we resolve issues when they arise. But in the last election, the mechanisms were there. The NPP party did not, their polling agents across Ghana did not protest. It's just 3 people at the national level. The flag bearer, Akufo-Addo, his vice presidential candidate, Bawumia, and the chairman. Okay. They are the 3 people who think that they could take everyone else for granted. Please, my people, it is important that we support President John Mahama because he won a clear mandate.
Okay, let me go to the phone lines. You can join in the discussion on 030221170124. Keep the calls coming. Broja, because we are running out of time, I want us to tackle Omari Wadia. You know what is most offensive? I mean, you would expect somebody in his position to recoil back into his shell or be apologetic and remorseful. Instead, he thinks this is an opportune time to see himself as a hero. I feel very offended. I think it's an insult to the very norms and values that we've held dear all these centuries as Ghanaian people.
You know, that's the main reason why the BNI must be allowed to work.
Okay.
I hate when I hear people say, oh, let's forgive him, let's ignore it. When the man himself is not showing any signs of remorse, he believes that what he has done is the best and that even people within his party would be comfortable. Unfortunately for him, many people within his party,
yes,
including those who have done worse things, you understand, have all come against him. So, for him, he's just satisfying his ego.
Okay, let me pick this call and then come back to you. Hello, Ebenezer.
Yes, sir.
You are welcome to Majority Caucus.
Thank you. After listening to Mr. Sarijan, I am ashamed as an MPP member. We was going into this case. I thought we had a case, but I am disappointed in my leaders, and I expect them to come and apologize to the people of Ghana. Thank you.
You are most welcome. There's somebody who is ashamed of. Okay, let me have another caller. Hello, Joseph.
Hello.
Yeah,
Good
welcome
evening.
to Caucus. Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I just want to contribute to the program.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, today I was looking at the discussions on the proceedings in court today.
Okay.
And I've realized that even the petitioners don't know why they are in court. You realize that all the testimonies that Bawumia gave, everything is contradicted. They are just there to serve their selfish interests. And I think the people of Ghana should not be taken for granted. We have voted and elected President Mahama as our president. So why should they go to court and be, making these allegations? I think it's serious.
Okay.
They shouldn't take us for granted. The people of Ghana are so discerning that we will not sit down and let them take our right, our legitimate mandate to vote for granted. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Okay. Hello, Alex.
Yeah, my boss. Good evening.
Good evening. You are welcome to Caucus.
Thank you. I'm that Alex calling from Asante Mampo.
Go ahead.
From the day that General Mosquito mounted the witness box to today, I'm very, very ashamed of NPP.
because they told us that they have evidence that even NDC is not going to have anything
evidence
to say about it. And since they are so-called evidence, you came in election and lose, yet you don't want to understand. Tell the MPP that they have no case. They better withdraw the case and go and stay in their house. Please, I'm very, very ashamed of MPP. They should stop. Oh, my friend, we will come back later.
Okay, thank you. I have Shadrach. Hello, Shadrach.
Yeah, brother, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I'm calling from Caucus. And greetings to Mr. Brigadier over there.
I'm sure he's responding.
Petition Vice Chairman speaking.
Okay, I'm sure he knows who you are.
Yeah, okay. I'm not surprised because I'm just a branch vice chairman. I can tell for the fact that I know, Ghana electoral process more than about here. I must admit, because I took part of the EC, exercise that just embarked on us before the election.
Okay.
And I was just wonder, and I was so surprised that the testimony came out that, a poll agent was just a mere observer. The person who cast a vote, you cannot detain that person as a mere observer, because the person who cast a vote have a right, a legitimate right, to seek and just testify that he or her vote has been counted, and not to go to the front of a poll agent. And also moving forward, it's so obvious because, like my brother Amani was there, was saying, they have a hidden agenda, or they want exception trade. That was they want to portray that people in the Ghana want to believe that hey, they have a case. But let's just always and see the outcome of the court case. Thank you very much.
Okay, you are most welcome. Yeah, Broja, you are making a point.
Yeah, so the man has admitted to at least circulating the picture.
But there's a correction we all need to get. He never said he did that on Facebook. There's a page called.
It doesn't matter.
Any circulation once it gets to a third party.
Yeah,
that's all.
Even with what he did, how I have heard some accounts on how he created the group with the name Idebi Keke, and when people got to know, he invited ministers on that page, and everything that.
Thought that you were chatting amongst yourself as NDC
and
members.
And he was just taking note of all those things. And immediately when he saw people leaving, he changed it to NPP Agenda 1. So it means that the Idebi Keke was just covering up for that hidden agenda.
That could constitute an offense and a fraudulent act by false pretense.
I'm saying that in the first place gives him out. And he goes ahead to publish those pictures. I have heard many accounts, including, I think, Apia Stadium, saying that even some days before the elections, he said that he was going to impose the president's picture on some nasty.
Very nasty,
all those things I have heard. I have heard about people who have also spoken on radio. They thought they were speaking to his defense, but they later implicated him that a guy said he saw the pictures in London on his phone, and he said he was going to send it to other people in Ghana.
Okay,
you understand? The person was just defending him that he is not the originator of the picture, but the person ended up confirming
incriminating
that he was the person who circulated those pictures. I think it's high time we end all those nasty things that are going on. You know, the MPP has been preparing the minds of Ghanaians that the president, when he was an MP, had an affair with somebody in
many children
somebody's office and all those things. So they actually planned towards that. And if you are a BNI director or officer, you don't need to wait for the president to tell you to act on some of these things.
By the way.
You understand? So it's very good that the BNI has taken this issue up. They have to fight to its logical
But
conclusion.
are we likely to see charge? He being charged for such an offense instead of the normal thing that you be arrested, you are released on bail, and then no issue, nothing happens afterwards.
At least I know that Honorable Kennedy Japan is still in court.
Okay,
so I have no reason to doubt that the BNI would continue this case. When it gets to the court, President Mills has said that the wheels of justice grind slowly, but surely they will get to their destination. So let's hope that it ends to the court. When the matter lands in the court, it's out of the jurisdiction of the BNI, and it's left with our judicial system to deal with it. But I think everybody, including our clergy and other civil society organizations, they should condemn these issues. These are the things that we have to hear them speak. You see,
these are the things that make some theorists, or we call them jurists in law, who posit that perhaps norms should be the foundations for our laws. You cannot have a law existing independent of your norms and values as a society, because this is an attempt to corrupt the moral image as Ghanaians we have. What do you say about that?
I was appalled when I heard what they put out there. I haven't seen it, I must confess. I don't wish to see that. Okay. Because, to be honest, it has been a grand scheme of the NPP to discredit every NDC leader, especially the ones at the very top. Don't forget, they did so much to the late President Mills, speculating falsehood about his death, until unfortunately he eventually died out of natural causes. They wished him dead for so many times. So I'm not surprised that the NPP is behaving this way, because they did similar things to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and they actually did similar things to President Rawlings. Did it to President Mills, and they are doing it to President John Mahama. All I can say clearly is that Omari Wadia, he seriously corrupted the moral image of President John Mahama, and I am 100% sure that it doesn't take President Mahama to make a complaint or report to the police or BNI before he's arrested, because President Mahama is the leader and head of state of this country, the head of state, commander-in-chief of our armed forces. And if you portray him like that through doctored photographs, you are spoiling the image of the whole of Ghana, and not the president alone. That is one thing we should know. So anyone who denigrates Ghana that much must face the laws of Ghana. And I hope and pray that the BNI will do its job.
Honorable, I'll come to you. Honorable Murtala Mohammed, the Deputy Information Minister. I urge all Ghanaians in a press statement at the daily press briefing at the Office of the President. It's something that we should condemn, or if it is done to Akufo-Addo, it is condemnable as it is to the President.
You see, I don't even like the idea of comparing Akufo-Addo to President Mahama. There are persons in this country who think that because of this election petition, we don't have any executive power in this country. They believe that we only have the legislature, which is Parliament, working, and the judiciary, which is represented by the Supreme Court looking at this case. They don't believe that we even have a president who has been sworn in by the Chief Justice of this country. And that is what influences them in many ways to operate in this manner. And the BNI must just put a stop to this. This arrest, and when the case is followed and pursued to its conclusion, I am sure that people will begin to know that there's an executive power existing in this country.
Indeed. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. But I'm very grateful for both gentlemen for coming and making time to join me in the studio. We have to go, but before we do, I know Omari Wadia watches this program. He doesn't miss it for anything. I'm sure you know the consensus is that you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be more apologetic, be remorseful, apologize to the people of Ghana. At least, if you know that for the president, we have imams we have pastors, we even have traditional leaders. I do not think this despicable act perpetrated by you and your ilks is an example worthy of being emulated. And so it is enough. Please, you are not a hero. It will be unintelligent for anybody to deceive you into thinking that this action will make you a hero. Please do not buy into such pathetic advice. Do make a date with me next week, Tuesday. Inshallah, I will be here with my guests and continue the discussion in the studio. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.